I'll follow you and say,
Thank
I
you
just got a
for
couple of
waiting.
statements.
Okay.
I had lib in mind.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome Councilmember Fred Brown. Of course, we're in your district, so, right?
Yes.
And our Director of the Division of Water Quality, Charlie Martin. And so in a few weeks, the sanitary sewer project will move into high gear with a week-long closure of this very intersection, followed by several weeks when Greentree Road will be closed. We're taking a moment right now to talk to you about what's happening here and across our city to improve our sanitary sewers. Back in 2011, Lexington started working on its storm and sanitary sewers after our city was sued by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the state for being in violation of the Clean Water Act. With 52 sanitary projects complete, we have about 28 to go, including this one. There are 14 other projects currently active in locations across our city. This project here in Gainesway is a really good example of the importance of this work. We know 2 sanitary sewer manholes have overflowed nearly 150 times in this area, just since 2011. Lexington sanitary sewers transport wastewater from homes and businesses to one of our city's 2 wastewater treatment plants. Normally, the water is cleaned before being released from the plants into local creeks. However, sanitary sewer overflows from sewer manholes can occur when rainwater enters the sanitary sewer system, overloading its capacity. The manholes overflow and sewage runs into the streets or into our streams. That's what has been happening here and in many places around our county. Sanitary sewer overflows pollute our creeks and are a health hazard. With the Greentree project, the city's replacing and upsizing our sanitary sewer lines. This project runs on Greentree from Armstrong Mill Road to New Circle Road. Now, we know these projects can be inconvenient to people who live here and a little painful. It's important to remember, though, that we're protecting the environment and cleaning up our city. That's worth some short-term inconvenience. Now, we'll hear from Councilmember Fred Brown, who has represented this district for many years. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you, Mayor. Just some brief comments. As you can see in the background here, we're keeping the road open as long as we can for local traffic for sure. And because we have so many homes that are all around us here, and that's one of the things that's really helped out. Even on Greentree, all the way down to Armstrong Mill Road, I've been following that it's been almost a year since we started down there. But the contractor and the city has really worked together to keep the road open to the local people. I had a couple comments from the local people, and they say, well, maybe we ought to keep it closed for a while longer because I don't have any traffic now. But anyway, they do accommodate and you can get through. I think one of the major problems that I see is that when they close this intersection here, it's going to be closed completely for a week, so it will really detour traffic somewhat. So we want to make sure that everybody acknowledges that and just ask for patience. And I haven't had a whole lot of complaints. People realize that we have to do it, and when it's all said and done, we're going to have a corridor here on Greentree that's going to look real good. It's going to be repaved, sidewalks fixed, and the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that we have the water company decided to follow us on this project here while the road was tore up, which makes good sense. So the water company is putting new lines in, so Greentree ought to be good for the next 50 years. So anyway, we're hoping for that. So I think Charlie can give you more details on what the project is doing.
1 second. Hang on 1
Oh,
second.
you want to
Yeah.
introduce him?
Or 100 years. Let's hope for 100 more years.
I'll settle for 50.
Thank you very much, Fred. Next, you're going to hear from our director of our Division of Water Quality, Charlie Martin. And I do want to thank Charlie for all of his wonderful work on this humongous project throughout our city. Charlie, welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I believe this is part of the overall consent decree project, which I believe is the largest public works project that Lexington's ever undertaken. The original cost estimate was in the neighborhood of $600 million, stretched out over the course of 15 years. This one here is about $8.1 million worth of work. As the mayor mentioned before, we've got a couple of chronic overflows that happen during wet weather that this will be abating. There are several more that are on the other side of New Circle that this pipeline will provide capacity for to eliminate them in the future. So all these things go together. We call this West Hickman Trunk E. I know we mentioned this as Greentree because most people know where that is. But the West Hickman's drainage area all goes to the treatment plant in Jessamine County. And so we built storage tanks and we started working our way up the hill. New pipeline in Veterans Park, new pipeline that goes under Man o' War, one that came all the way up here to Armstrong Mill. So this is just another segment of the overall fix that it's not providing capacity for new development. This is all a pretty stable area. It's for all the water that seems to get into the system when it rains, and instead of it getting out of the system and into the creeks, it stays in the pipe and goes to the treatment plant like it's supposed to.
Very
Thank you.
good. All right, very good. Thank you so much, Charlie. He has been a dedicated workhorse on this EPA consent decree and the project. So now, if you have any questions, we've got Director Martin, we've got Councilmember Fred Brown, and I'm going to ask the first one. Is this the bypass?
Yes, it is.
Woohoo!
And that's what they do. They pull it up and
Tell about what the bypass
Yeah,
is.
what this is that basically is that the flow is coming from in front of me to behind me. It's flowing this way. So basically what you're doing, like you would have an artery bypass if you were having surgery or done, we set up a bypass line because the sewage has to keep flowing. We bypass around the segment that they're replacing. That way no sewage gets released into the environment. What's been clever about this one is that we don't typically bury them like this, and this one's been buried here and up here at the intersection that allows people to still be able to get to their house.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
This project doesn't have anything to do with the odor. This one's really driven by water quality, not necessarily air quality. Obviously, if sewage gets out into the environment in any place, it's unpleasant to smell. But this project itself is not necessarily related to that odor. We have Webster Environmental Associates that got under contract with us last month. They're working diligently on developing fast-track projects for us that we can implement in the near term that provides some relief for those neighbors.
Other questions? 14 other projects?
Yeah, there's more projects, and not only just here, but also throughout the city. We were talking before this started, there's one that's planned for over off of Tates Creek Road between New Circle, Tates Creek Road, up into the Lansdowne area. That will be another one that folks will notice us, because unfortunately in doing these projects, you can't help but impact traffic. And I can't say enough to how much I appreciate this community and how people will rally together, even when it's inconvenient for them, to realize that it's part of the greater good. There's another big project that's been going on over off of Harrodsburg Road. You might have noticed that there's a big pit that's built in front of the Frisch's. That is Wolf Run Trunk F, if I got my letters correctly.
Other questions? All right, thank you all for being here. And I just noticed those gigantic pipes over there. You know, sewers are really interesting when you see them being rebuilt.
Yeah.
So, all the equipment and all that it takes
Well,
to do it.
I
So-
might add, this staging area that we have over there, we're keeping it environmentally sound, plus that city property. What you're standing on here is another segment of city property. So we're not using private citizens that much as far as disrupting their home style or anything like that. On the other end of Armstrong Mill Road, we had a staging area in one of the parks. So all of that's going to be cleaned up, and it's going to be beautified, and it'll get back to its the way it was before.
Yeah, go ahead.
What most people don't notice is a lot of these sewers go back to before merger. There originally was a treatment plant at the end of Greentree Road where the church is right now. That was originally because the treatment plant was built by private entities in order to develop the Gainesway neighborhood to begin with.
We had several private treatment plants.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here.
Yeah. Stay warm.
It is interesting.
Well, we're glad you're interested.
You know, it's rare that you see the bypass